Welcome to the Q2 update. I think everybody knows the usual story, just forward-looking statements. Everybody can just please have a quick read of this. Okay, great. So today's agenda, we're going to go through a Q2 performance update. And again, we're going to be looking at the major actions that we're taking to move the company to scale and profitability, because that's really the maniacal focus of what my leadership team is focused on as we look to really start building significant shareholder value, along with the human utility value that we're driving every single day. And I think, Justin, this time, I know I say it all the time, but I think this time I'm going to land on about half an hour. And I think we can have a longer Q&A, because I know that's what people are always asking for, the Q&A to go longer. Okay, well, I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, you saw the major milestone in the month of August, $1 million in North America, of which literally 98% of that is the US of A. And we're talking about one SKU. Yes, one SKU, $1 million. And that really is an amazing major milestone for us to achieve. And, when you think about it in the context of doing this all with one SKU, it really, for me, it just demonstrates, frankly, the magnitude of the opportunity that we, all of us, the team here, our shareholder partners, that we all have as we take this amazing botanical synthesis biotech platform technology and we bring it to market using VINIA as our lead driver across multiple different categories in the future, and then moving this forward with other products that we have in our pipeline. And really what I'm saying here is that, we haven't even dipped our toes in the ocean, right? Well, I'd say we just dipping our tippy toes into the ocean based on the opportunity that we have. And I just want to remind people, just the US is roughly a $54-55 billion market for nutraceuticals, okay? We play in three core areas: heart health, memory health, because we increase alertness, improve alertness as a result of blood flow, as a result of dilation of arteries, and then obviously physical energy, which is a major outcome of the increased dilation of arteries and blood flow. This is roughly 17% of those revenue pools, which gets you to, let's call it, $9 billion. So the size of the prize in the US of A is significant, where we're playing to win. And with one SKU, we delivered $1 million. And as I want to remind everybody, in the next 6 months, we will go from one SKU to 10 SKUs. And we're going to go from one category to 5 categories. So helps you dimensionalize, if we're doing $1 million from one SKU, what is the size of the prize as we start to take the business to 10 SKUs, just utilizing our VINIA red grape powder, and going into categories which we've talked about: superior energy alertness using coffee as a key delivery mechanism, superior recovery using our protein bars as a delivery mechanism, and then superior hydration using a powder beverage format as the major delivery mechanism. All in themselves massive billion-dollar markets. And then just to understand that it doesn't just stop there, we've got Keurig tea coming with a green tea that we're looking to launch post-coffee. We'll launch a regular black tea as well. And basically, the innovation pipeline will continue to roll. And then you layer that on top of that with our olive products, our olive cell products, executing the same playbook. I hope you share the excitement that I have of literally the magnitude of revenue and ultimately with scale profitability that we can drive within the nutraceutical business unit of our company. Super, super exciting. And so for me, the $1 million was just literally a mini milestone for me and for the team. We're obviously focused now on some of the other more major milestones as part of the growth trajectory as we continue to innovate and disrupt. And let me say that just our capsule business in itself, when we're looking at $1 million in the month of August, we need to understand that we still are not turning on the tap. And the demand tap that we have is much greater. And we believe that that $1 million, and you'll see this as we look at the walk forward into Q3 and into Q4, is going to build significantly. Okay, how are we doing so far, Justin? It's clear? All right, good. All right. Now, I want to just spend a little bit of time dissecting the quality of the second quarter performance. The results in themselves from an overall revenue perspective, literally a 3xing revenue from $838,000 to $2.75 million is obviously a significant achievement. US, we literally 6x'd it from $370,000 to just under 2.3 million. And even, when we look at our Israeli business, we increased it. When you look at it in shekels, we increased the business 10%. And really, we're now in our pretty much our 12th or 13th quarter of consecutive high single digit or double digit growth, which just, again, demonstrates the opportunity that we have with VINIA. Again, gross profit margin, it's a major, major focus of the entire organization. We increased gross profit significantly as we start to bring more scale into the business. And this is a super focus point of the business, comparing versus last year, moving from 12 to 40. And then if we look at it quarter on quarter, we increased it by 10%, moving our GP to 40%. And the objective, ladies and gentlemen, is to get the GP, next major milestone, we want to move the GP to 60% and then moving that beyond. And I'm going to share with you some examples of how we're looking at every single step in the value chain, end to end, turning every single screw to be able to bring more GP into the business in order to drive that profitability and cash flow positive position as soon as possible. Now, when you dissect the critical aspects of growth, there's one factor which is super important that I want everybody to understand, which really demonstrates the power of our technology, our platform technology, as well as really the efficacy of our current hero product being our red grape cell powder from VINIA. And I want you to reflect on this number. And I want you, challenge all of you to find me another business out there that has a subscription base as a percentage of the business as large as what we have. Currently, we have grown our business so that we have 93% of our users are subscription. 93% of orders that are going out today are subscription orders. And that means recurring revenue. That means I wake up every single morning and you see a recharge of hundreds of subscriptions, recurring subscriptions. That means for you, as you go to sleep every night, you can know that the company that you invested in has a significant subscription base that is very, very loyal to our technology and obviously the products. Now, I want to show you this chart, which is very interesting as well. We're going back in history. And when you look at, so 93% of our orders are subscription orders. Okay? There's still 7% that prefer to purchase one time, and they're all purchasing 3 months for $139. So they pay a premium. You don't want to be on subscription, no problems, but you pay a premium. But when we started in this business, and let's go back to Q3 21, literally 44% of our business was 1 month subscription. And literally only 48% of the business was 3 months. And we made a conscious decision as a commercial leadership team to basically say, this is not healthy enough. This is not good enough. We want to move the business as fast as possible to 3-month and more subscription packages. So we crafted the right commercial strategy, pricing strategy, and also importantly, the biggest driver is all our clinical trials are based on 3 months. And therefore, we know that it's like a normal distribution curve. For some people, VINIA can work for them in a week or 2 weeks. In some people, based on their genetics, it can take 4 to 6 weeks. And there are some people that it can take 8 to 10 weeks for VINIA to work, for them to feel the impact of the increased physical energy and mental alertness and the other benefits that are derived from VINIA. So we've worked like crazy, and you can see today we sit with 95% of those 93% subscribers are 3 months or more. And nearly 25% are 6 months or more. This describes the health of a subscription base, of a consumer base. And this is why we have a business where our churn rate continues to decrease, which ultimately drives much longer lifetime value, which ultimately improves the bottom line of the business. So I think it's important. I wanted to spend some time helping you understand that $1 million is important, but it's the quality. It's the quality of the $1 million, right? Because ultimately it's all about repeating and growing that recurring revenue. And in this business, recurring revenue is king. So this gets me very excited. It also should get all of you, our shareholder partners, very excited. I know when I'm talking to bankers out there and I'm talking to other major, if it's VCs or family offices, showing them these two charts, 93% sub base, and then I show them the quality of the subscription base. It's like, wow, how did you do that? Well, we did this primarily because we have an amazing performing product. We have a product that ultimately now, after 2,728 reviews, I think it's up to about 2,750 now, 4.8 out of 5 verified rating, because we have a product that delivers, that has a strong price value proposition. And you'll see, we're definitely not a cheap product relative to the market. We're a premium product, but we deliver, and it's that delivery of critical functional benefits. It's the human utility value that we're driving every single day now for tens of thousands of consumers in the US and in Israel, that's allowing us to build this very, very healthy subscription base that we're growing rapidly with a capital R. So as we walk forward, we now, just given the nature of the business is moving so fast, and there's so many things going on, we're now trying to give quarterly guidance. We're shifting it to quarterly guidance. We're given quarterly guidance of 3 to 3.5 million. So again, consecutively increasing those numbers every single quarter. And then basically in early Q4, we will give guidance for the full year. We have a lot going on between now and Q4 as it relates to expanding our infrastructure, as it relates to also a major new product launch that we're trying to bring into the market as soon as possible. And so really the ride home to the end of the year is going to be very, very exciting. Okay, just taking a drink of water. So that kind of summarizes the Q2 performance update. Justin, are you seeing a lot of questions?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Keep coming.
Anything you want me to hit now, or should I keep on going?
No, I think you're going to cover most of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Plow through.
Okay, good. All right. So again, we're very, very focused leadership team. So you're going to see me utilizing this model all the time because I live and breathe based on this model on how to basically grow a business to scale and drive profitability. You have two sides, demand management, supply fulfillment, okay? And the demand management, it's all about revenue management, how we optimize our marketing, how we scale channels, and how we scale products. Supply fulfillment, it's all about cost management, driving manufacturing scaling, other cost of goods management, and obviously people management, operating expenses management to get to that break-even profitability. So it's important to say that on the demand side, we have amazing demand momentum across our business. And I think the best way to illustrate it is that, honestly, we've just started to gently turn the demand tap on. We are, I would say, holding back demand right now. I could actually go a lot more on the accelerator because ultimately we have to balance the demand and the supply equation, specifically in a subscription business, because we have to make sure we're delivering those subscription repeat orders on time, in full, all the time. Otherwise, we're going to have a dissatisfied customer. But we're carefully controlling that, and shortly we'll be able to loosen the screws on the tap. But the important thing is we can feel the demand. We can feel the demand. We understand the demand pulse for this amazing product, and we understand clearly how to manage and control that pulse. So let's first talk about what are we doing on the marketing side to make sure that for every customer we're getting, we're reducing what we call our cost of acquisition. In the business, there are two critical elements. There's your cost of acquisition and there's your long-term, basically value, lifetime value of the customer. And we have an amazing lifetime value that we're building, and we're reducing our cost of acquisition every single quarter. It's a major focus of Jared and the team. So you can see in Q2 of this year versus last year, we reduced our cost of acquisition by 62%. And this is just about being smarter on how we go to market with the different marketing strategies. And when you look at this, our strategy as a result of all the work and the route to market via TBN is really delivering for the business. We have today significant TV commercials across this network. And what's kicked in now, you will see on the network at multiple different times during the week, we actually are running 30-minute programs which explain the power of our platform technology and the power of VINIA. This is a very unique way to fill the top of the funnel, and we're seeing really fantastic conversion rates, which is very, very exciting. We have more activity coming up. I'm heading to the US the week after next for an interview with Eric Metaxas. We have another interview in October, middle of October, planned with Mike Huckabee, which is also super exciting. Mike Huckabee is a big supporter of VINIA. And we have a number of other big hits interviews planned as we go into November and December. So a very aggressive ride home to the end of the year. In addition, we continue to leverage the power of our influencers. You know, major players that are actually posting on behalf of their experience with the VINIA brand. Juice Vaughn, you know, he's basically, you know, super popular now as a result of his rise to fame. Really connecting with the brand and connecting with their audiences as we look to really make the brand younger. And important influencers out there in the marketplace, Gary Breaker, who is probably, I would say, the leading biohacker out there, a fantastic human being, helping people really with their longevity. You can see, for example, the support that we're getting from critical influencers like Gary on his Instagram, and this is his TikTok account. You can see he's recommending VINIA. This is part of his suite to recommend in order for people to improve their blood flow as a result of, obviously, our ability to increase dilation of arteries. And we have a podcast series with Gary that we shot a few months ago that we're looking at landing. He has a massive Spotify audience, and we're looking at landing this again in the fourth quarter of this year. Importantly as well, we have a new campaign rolling out. The marketing team really are, getting, much more sensitized to the consumer and understanding what drives the consumer. The look and feel is very premium and very edgy and helps us take the brand younger, which is important. So again, the demand side of the business, the message you should get here is that we have a demand side of the business that's working. We have a cost of acquisition that is leading in the industry. We have our hands on that tap. And as we continue to increase our supply, we will continue to basically open up the tap. But the good thing is the what we would call the pepped up demand creation, it is there, and that's super exciting. And what we see, and again, I encourage all of you, go and read the reviews. As CEO, I read every single review that comes to this company, whether it's Amazon or whether it's through our website. Everything basically comes past my email. And what I love seeing now, and I'm seeing it more and more, is basically people commenting, wow, VINIA just had such an amazing impact on my overall health and wellness. It did this and this and this to me. And now I've got my partner or my wife or my husband, or I've told all my friends, and everybody in my club is on VINIA. So we're seeing that. We're seeing the power of basically the good old word of mouth. And that's when you know you have a powerful brand built off powerful technology, which is anchored in a best-in-class leading botanical synthesis technology platform. Okay. Now let me talk about what we're doing with channel scaling, and I want to go more detailed into Amazon because Amazon is becoming more and more important to our lives. Just recapping on Amazon, we have the 30s. We've now added subscribe and save in early May, and then we moved into basically a 60s in June. And also now there's also a feature on Amazon where you can buy a 30 and a 60 to give you 90 at about $129. So it's actually a strong value proposition. Wow. Amazon for us is just cranking. Year to date, 8,205 orders, 35% repeat purchase and growing rapidly. Every dollar we spend, we get back $4.5 at least. That's amazing. Year to date spend on Amazon has been less than 50K, so I haven't even opened our wallets on Amazon, right? We've been very, very smart, very, very surgical. We have an amazing team with Roy and Efrat that partner with us in really getting things right with Amazon and building it in a sustainable way. And we have a 9.37% conversion rate in the last 30 days. That means that literally just under 1 out of 10 people that came to the website, they bought literally to our page, they bought, which is amazing. And I think it's important to understand that on Amazon, we like, you know, if you want to say we haven't dipped our toes into the ocean, in Amazon, I haven't even like opened my eyes because we spent less than 50K year to date. Okay. We're now end of August in advertising money. And with that, we are consistently in the top 15 resveratrol products on Amazon. And if you look at our pricing, we're the highest pricing absolute in most cases, and definitely on a per serving basis. Now, we're not happy with that. But when you think about it, we've delivered that. We're spending less than 50K year to date August. Again, it demonstrates the power of the proposition, the technology, and the fact that we have now a focused path to being number one. Okay? Now, you can look at number one. It's very, very cheap. $24 for 60 capsules. Okay? It's basically, you know, it's 25% of our pricing when we look at it. But we have a path to get there, and we will do this the right way with building the right sustainable steps to get there efficiently. But definitely, it's our aspiration to quickly break the top 10. It's a metric we look at all the time, and then to break the top 5. And ultimately, we want to be number one because we're pretty competitive people here at BioHarvest. Right, Justin?
Yeah, and you just answered Ty's question perfectly too, so I can cross one off. Good job.
Okay, all right, good. So again, you know, the demand side of the business is working very, very well, and now I want to talk about product scaling. And I would tell you, like the last 3 months, we've just been doing so much work here on the product scaling side, and I will just tell you that the strategy of superior science, superior taste, and superior efficacy, right, is a strategy that we really believe is going to allow us to disrupt and win in all these different categories. We talked about coffee, and let's call it other hot beverages. We've talked about protein bars. We talked about basically powdered electrolyte beverages. And trust me, there's more to come that we're working on. We just haven't released this publicly. I will start to talk more about it, over the next few months. But I just, I don't want to share too much right now, just given that, we're very, very focused on getting these three categories out: coffee by December, the protein bars, and the electrolyte beverages in the end of first quarter. But there's more coming in second quarter and third quarter in literally disrupting other categories. Okay? So let's spend a little bit of time. I want to share with you the amazing work and the progress that we've been doing with our partners, Joe's Garage out of Seattle. And also, I want to give kudos to Yael, who's our marketing director based in Florida. And I hope she's listening. And if not, Justin, make sure that you find a way to get her to watch this. But she's just done an amazing, amazing job with like breakthrough packaging that you're going to see will make the best in the category literally start to watch what BioHarvest is doing in the space. So just to remind everybody, we're leveraging the power of VINIA with coffee, which is really a cultural delivery system for Americans. Literally 41% of USA homes have a single-serve brewer. 38 million machines. Wow. Crazy when you think about it. The size of the prize, just to give you some perspective, okay? 62 billion pods is US and Europe. I believe US is at least, let's say 50% of it. Take it as 30 billion pods, okay? It's massive. This is regular coffee pods. In Amazon, if you go to the top grocery selling items, 7 out of 15 are coffee pods. Coffee pod brands, including Amazon's private label, McDonald's in Keurig, Amazon in Keurig, etc., etc. 7 out of 15. That tells you something. It tells you that this is a massive cultural delivery system for Americans, and we have to make sure that our product is there. And it's the best delivery mechanism to bring the disruption of VINIA to the marketplace. And then you take decaf, where I think we're massively disruptive. You have at least 10% of that 30 billion, at least, and I'm being conservative, because 10% of Americans drink decaf exclusively, and another 10% drink decaf and regular. They'll have regular in the morning, then switch to decaf. But let's say it's a 3 billion pod market, okay? 3 billion pods, let's say, again, roughly, say $1 a pod is, $3 billion market, right? You get 1%, it's a lot of dollars. 1% share, it's a lot of dollars. So we're not aiming for 1% share, we're aiming for more, but I just want you to understand the magnitude of the markets that we're going into. So a lot of work we've been doing on formulation and on packaging development. I'm going to share with you now the packaging work, which really I think is, I'm really excited about. First, I'm going to share with you the front panel. So this is the front panel. I'm going to focus on the decaf because we're still doing more work on the regular. But there's a couple of things I want to draw your attention to here, okay? Firstly, I hope you all feel that this is very premium, very disruptive, and brings the power of basically nutraceutical, biotech, and the culture of coffee together. What you will see is very clear branding, VINIA Superfood Coffee. You see very clear hierarchy of benefits, blood flow, energy, decaf. So you're saying to the consumer, I'm bringing you energy through blood flow, even though it's a decaf. There's no jitters, there's no crash. And ultimately, we improve physical energy and mental alertness. And it's powered by VINIA, and it's powered by a 12-hour sustainable release red grape pie seed resveratrol. Now, importantly, we've made a very, very, I would say, important decision that to not compromise on anything based on the values of our brand and the values of our company. As we started to go down this path, there is a huge difference in price between decaf that comes from basically coffee beans where they use chemical solvents to extract the coffee. 90 right now, if you look at Amazon, I believe the last time I checked, there were 3 out of like 120 brands that use the Swiss water decaf chemical-free process. This Swiss water decaf chemical-free process uses basically water to be literally plain water, regular water, to actually extract the caffeine so there are no chemicals, no solvents utilized. And that's what BioHarvest has to use. So we can see we're dramatizing and playing it up to the consumer, the importance of using a chemical-free decaf process. Or if you look at the top 10 brands in the market, they're all utilizing, let's call it the chemically driven extraction process. So we're coming here with massive disruption related to giving energy without the jitters, without the crash, all through blood flow, and making sure that we're utilizing the best coffee. And I took a decision to purchase premium coffee at a premium price because of this process, but it was a decision that was the right decision, and a decision that we have to make based on the values of the brand and the company. So this is the front of the pack. Justin, you like it?
I think it's gorgeous. As I saw it for the first time just before this meeting. I love it.
All right, good stuff. Okay, this is the back of the pack, and this is a hero image. I love this image, right? We've been working on this for ages. Again, one single cup, one big impact. We just described the process, what's inside. And this hero image of the red grape, the parsley coming from the red grape, plus the coffee beans being infused together into the K-cup and into your coffee is going to be a hero image. And we're busy now working with our partners on actually animating this. And really, we're going to be building premium marketing assets for a premium brand to disrupt this category. And again, we talk about the Swiss water process here and communicate the importance of this process.
Hey, Ilan.
Yes, sir.
We can cover some coffee questions right here. James asked, just for you to clarify, compare a K-pod to how much VINIA is in a capsule.
Great question. So basically, we've done a ton of work, and that work required basically for us to understand when you put VINIA through basically the Keurig, let's call it the extraction system, coffee extraction system, you have to understand how much recovery of the parsley resveratrol specifically you're getting. And so we've done a lot of work in that area. We understand exactly what the recovery is, and basically we have to add more VINIA into the capsule in order to make sure that we're delivering all the time the 6 milligrams of parsley resveratrol. So that's basically going in the actual pod. If you had to open up a pod and try and take the VINIA, put it to one side and the coffee to the other side, you'll see there's more than 400 milligrams of VINIA, right? Based on the resveratrol recovery. We have very good resveratrol recovery, very good parsley recovery. But again, just in full transparency, it's not 100%. So we top it up, we increase it to make sure we have at least the 400 milligrams of VINIA that we have in a capsule, at least. And again, that's part of our basically commitment to the consumer to make sure we're giving them a product that has efficacy. And we've done, that's been a lot of work that we had to do. We had to test it across different serving sizes, different Keurig models to make sure that we understood what the harmonized recovery rate was.
Can you comment on your expectations for the profit margin on coffee and tea?
So I'll articulate it like this. We're going to be selling this, the retail price point will be about $1.75, okay, per pod, okay? And if you think about it, you're getting it's premium. This is signature premium coffee that we're talking about. Plus you've got at least the equivalent of what you have in a VINIA capsule, right? So $1.75, I think is very, very reasonable based on the value we bring into the consumer. Now, when you think about it, right, the consumer's paying $1 right now, roughly, for a VINIA capsule, so there's an extra 75 cents. And let's just say, without getting into the unit economics, which I can't share, I would say to you that we've been very purposeful and surgical that all the innovation we're bringing is what I call premiumizing the business. So you're increasing your absolute gross profit margin that you're banking, because you don't bank percentages, you bank dollars. So per unit, we will make significantly more on a VINIA coffee pod versus what I make today on a capsule, even after the cost of the coffee and all the other aspects. So it is what we call premiumization, and it's driving basic an improvement in overall margins of the business.
And to be clear, the target is that people will be able to order coffee, let's say by the Christmas season.
We are doing whatever it takes to get it out before Christmas. I want people to be able to gift to their loved ones, their families, a 30-pack or a subscription. And by the way, we're going to sell this on subscription as well. We're going to sell it the exact same way. 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And once we get people onto 1 month, we're going to move them quickly to literally the 3 months and beyond. Any more questions before I keep on going, Justin?
No, it's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So this is the side. So you have, again, front, back, side, one side. This is where we tell our story about resveratrol and the power of our resveratrol. I love this. Blood flow energy, decaf coffee, powered by red grape cells, not caffeine. That's cool. That's a little bit personality with a purpose. I'm enjoying that. Okay. Better blood flow, better life, better decaf. We've got some great marketing stuff that we're going to be coming out with in this area. This is, again, some of the other claims, on the side, nutrition facts we're busy working through, grown in high altitudes, the origin, the tasting notes, the fact that it's recyclable, and then all the other key elements, and it will be kosher as well. And then this is just going to show you like what the pod top is going to look like. All right. So again, premium. We're going to do it first on Keurig because 85% of the market is Keurig. We've already done all the work to do this in a Nespresso-like pod, which is the other 15% of the market. It is growing, by the way. We are I believe we are the only, if not one of the only, but if anybody sees any functional product in a Nespresso-like pod, please let me know. Because I don't believe that any other company's been able to put functional ingredients inside an Nespresso pod. And we've been able to do it with VINIA. We've actually worked on this for a long period of time. And we nailed it. We cracked it. We cracked the holy grail. And we made the decision because we have to prioritize to focus first on Keurig because it's 85% of the market. But we will move this to I think the politically correct word to say, because it's no longer under patent, is a pod that fits an espresso machine. Okay. And now we're doing work. Actually, I got to do this in the next 2 days with Yael, who's done a great job, just on how we differentiate the decaf versus regular. So this is blood flow energy coffee. And really what we're going to focus here is the 12-hour sustained release. So you get your kick out of caffeine, but the VINIA comes in to give you 12-hour sustained release energy. Okay, so this is important. So it's not, you don't have to take 5 cups of coffee to give you the kick all the time. You take 1 cup of coffee in the morning, get your kick, and then you get your VINIA giving you the 12-hour sustained release. Okay, Justin, any other questions before I move on?
Some really good questions. I'll save them for the Q&A. Real good.
All right. Your call. You're running the show. I'm just the CEO. Okay. Now let's look at cost management. All right. Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, these pictures were taken. It's now 10:13 Israel time. These pictures were taken. I think they were taken like 7:45. Okay. I was in the factory. Here is the team from our partners, Pushna. This is the microwave drying machine has landed. It's in Israel. It's being installed. We have 2 more machines that we have to install, which are coming in the next 4 to 6 weeks. They will help us with the drying of the cells, and then we freeze the cells, and then we microwave dry them, and we're basically able to then move product to market from this. So a lot of progress here. There's a lot of hard work that we're doing. We're doing a lot of construction work and a lot of basically reconfiguration, whilst at the same time trying to scale up the number of bioreactors. It's complex, and Ilana, our COO, and Saki, our head of manufacturing, are doing an amazing job managing that balance to try and deal with the momentum of the business whilst actually installing a whole new downstream process into our facility. So Justin, I'll stop now because I'm sure there's some questions here. You want to ask me here, or I can keep on going?
Just there are questions about the status of the drying when you expect it to be fully operational.
So the good news is a couple of things. Firstly, we have right now 2 other very good drying partners that we've been working with for the last, I would say, 18 to 24 months. We expect a 3rd drying partner to come on stream in the next 4 to 6 weeks, which will give us a lot of oxygen to help turn on that demand tab, okay? In addition, we have our own equipment and our own machine, which gives us maximum flexibility for a good chunk of our total drying requirements. So basically, we will manage this. We've got we've basically got to make sure that we don't in any way disrupt the growing of the cells. All right, so that's number 1 priority. We've got to keep on growing more cells. I do have outside capacity to dry the cells that we need to dry, but my expectation is basically end of Q4, early Q1, we will have this system up and running. But because we've got extra capacity outside, right, it helps alleviate some of the stress, which is good. So that basically is where we stand right now. It's a fine balance, and the preservation of the bioreactors and making sure that we're able to scale the bioreactors is number 1 priority right now, because I've got that extra drying capacity outside. And then just doing what we need to do, Justin, as you know, we speak about it a lot in our leadership meetings. We've got not just 1 piece of equipment, there's 3 pieces of equipment that have to come in, and some changes in our floor plan to get this all completed. But the intention is to get out of the blocks in 2024, pushing as much as possible to our own drive.
Can you put into context how much of an improvement that would be for you as far as the reducing bottlenecks, production bottlenecks?
I would say to you that the improvement is there's two kind of factors that drive the improvement. One is with our equipment coming on stream, this improves it by about I would say 50% at least. Okay, and then with a new partner coming on stream shortly as well, it's it allows us all the capacity we need to deliver the numbers we need to deliver in 2024, which you're not going to get from me tonight, but it's a lot of tons.
We've got some machinists in the crowd that like the look of the equipment.
They like the look? Good.
Yeah.
Anybody, when you come to Israel, you're welcome. As I've said before, everybody is very welcome to come and do a plant tour. In fact, I had an investor last week to do a plant tour with me. So you get a personal tour, any of you come to Israel, or any of our Israeli shareholder partners. You know that. All right. Justin, can I keep on going? I got 10 more times.
Yeah, please. Yep.
All right, good. Okay. So you know how I talked to you about turning every screw? So really, we're turning every single screw, and you're going to see some, I think, important strategic changes that we're making in the downstream as it relates to our packaging, which is going to save the company a lot of money and improve margins, I would say, significantly. Firstly, today, many of you know, when we deliver you your 3 months, or if you get your 6 months or 12 months, you're always getting basically 90 days at a time. We ship you a bottle of 30 and we ship you a bottle of 60. By the way, it's the same bottle. So many people call us in and they go, oh, I got 2 bottles of 30. And then we have to tell them, no, look carefully at the bottle. You got 130 and 160. So it's a little bit confusing. But ultimately, I'm not being efficient from a conversion and environmental perspective, which is important to us. And just generally, the cost of packaging is much greater. I've got to do 2 levels of conversion. So we are going to be moving a transition in the next 6 weeks. Everything is going to go to 90 capsules, okay? Except if you're on a 1-month subscription. For those 5% of our customers that are on a 1-month subscription, you'll still get it in the 30. Okay, we'll keep 30s and 60s for Amazon, and then 90s will be specifically with transition to 90s, which is literally 95% of our business going through our own website. This improves margin. Remember, we talked about margins at 40, right? High 30s, 40. We've got to move that up. This is worth 2 to 3 margin points at least. Okay? And it makes sense. And then when you do this, right, this is how you get it today. And now with the 90, we're going to a box which is more environmentally friendly. And also, basically, the box will be able to fit either a 90 or a 30. And also, we do away with all of our secondary boxes. Like some people, for example, if they're on subscription, they do get the bottle in a VINIA box. We're going to be doing away with that. There'll just be one box. Again, it takes a lot of cost, and it helps from an environmental perspective. That's another margin point. Then just, this here is a map of our business. It's a heat map. Where it's really red is where you have the most number of orders. Okay, so you can see it's very red in the state of California, state of Texas, Florida, and then you have, other key pockets that are not as hot, but are hot, as you see basically on the Northeast, and then coming into basically the Midwest, and then obviously up here in the Northwest. So basically right now, today, we have a 3PL logistics partner in Indiana. Everything's shipped out of Indiana, but we've done a lot of work on optimizing supply chain, and we're going to be bringing on board with the same partner, working with their LA warehouse, because roughly if you take LA and the surrounding, California and the surrounding states, it's about 20% of the business, and I can save another margin point in transportation costs. Talking about transportation costs, we've done a pitch, given the size of our business, working with our partner Shipcom, who are an amazing partner, looking at the cost of USPS and DHL. DHL have come in with a much more aggressive pricing in the market, which again saves us another, $1 to $2 per shipment, and that adds like another margin point. So you can see, Justin, we're like turning the screws on everything possible to creep up that margin point. Obviously, what's going to be most critical, everything helps, everything counts, and everything's super important. But the biggest factor is the scale as we move, basically to producing, let's call it, up first milestone, being able to produce north of 1 ton a month, and then moving to 1.5 ton a month, because my fixed costs pretty much are the same. So you get amazing fixed cost recovery. And then the other factors are, as we put more and more, this is very important for our shareholder partners, as we push more and more of our drying into freeze drying, or what we call microwave drying, we get much better yield on our cells. So therefore, from a bioreactor, we get much more kilos out of each bioreactor, which again reduces our manufacturing costs. So these factors, plus the combination of scale and yield and other just responsible business management, are going to get us over time. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but over time, to getting north of 60% margin, then north of 65% margin, which is where you have a winning business, specifically with our cost of acquisition being industry leading. So with that, hopefully you got a good sense of confidence of what we're doing to grow the revenue of the business and building the capabilities to really step change that revenue. What we're doing to get the business to break even. Our focus is really cash flow positive, looking at December as the month to get cash flow positive. Specifically, if we can move coffee out, we will have a much better chance of getting there, and then getting to that break-even position in basically the first quarter. And then ultimately, as we really started to bring scale, massive scale, one SKU, you've seen the impact. What are we going to, when we get to 10 SKUs, disrupting massive categories, then adding on olive cells, and I'm sure you're going to have some questions on olive cells, which I'll talk about. Then adding pomegranate cells, the same playbook. A nutraceutical company with at least literally 60 SKUs, plus a few categories that I will be talking about in the future that are being busy worked on right now. Literally, this is a multi-$100 million revenue business with an amazing EBITDA, an amazing EBITDA in the future. That is the aspiration, and I believe we're on the track to get there. And in addition to that, we have all the exciting work we're doing in our phytopharmaceutical business unit, as well as we always have a number of other areas that we're working on that we'll start to have dialogue with our shareholder partners on in the near future. So I'm going to stop now and move to Q&A and stop sharing and take a breather.
Not for long, because I've got lots of questions for you. Please keep them coming. I'm trying to summarize them. There's a lot of questions about marketing strategy, so I will ask some of those. But you just mentioned olives. Steve's asking if coffee might be December. You said ProLine in Q1 potentially. When do you see the delivery date or the market entry for the olive product?
We're working hard to get it into the market basically early part of the second half, so early Q3, and it's just about priorities, right? We've got it like it's a fluid business that we're in, okay? And I think we've always had a tremendous amount of transparency with our shareholder partners because you are all helping us build this business together, which is super exciting. If we hit the jackpot on coffee or hit the jackpot on protein bars, right? Literally, I've got to work on plan B on capacity because, you hit the jackpot in coffee, right? It's literally, our plant can produce, let's call it up to say $65 million of revenue, okay? In our current facility right now, okay? So that's why we're now working on plan B and on plan C. In fact, I was in a meeting this afternoon with some partners that are helping us on that process because we need to be ready for it, right? If it happens and we blow it out of the park, we've got a few chances. We're going to disrupt coffee. We're going to disrupt protein bars. We're going to disrupt, our friends at Liquid IV. By the way, 64% of Liquid IV is sugar. Okay, we're going to disrupt them with VINIA, with our organic electrolytes, with micronized magnesium, right? And a great tasting product. Consumers vote. They vote with basically their wallets. They vote with their preferences, and in that kind of situation, again, just being very transparent, olives will have to get shifted because you're going to make a choice, right? Fulfill demand on VINIA or launch olives, right? So we have to be nimble. That's my point. We have to be nimble, but we're working to get olives ready by early third quarter, and we have an amazing olive product. We haven't gone out publicly yet with what we have inside the olives, but we really believe that we have another winning proposition that will be an amazing brother or sister to our red grape cells from VINIA. So super excited.
And so sequentially on the ProLine, there are questions about how might the hydration powder fit in with the protein bar? Are they going to be staged?
From a timing perspective, yes. Look, if we have the capacity, I want to launch them all together. It's like, boom, you bring them all to the market under with the marketing having a halo effect. It's much more efficient, right? That's ideally if we have the capacity. If we don't have the capacity, we're going to have to make choices. That's what I'm just saying very transparently we talk about it in our leadership meeting. We have to be nimble. We're building world-class products. At the end of the day, some are going to pop, some may not pop as much, right? But you got to be ready for the pop. And when they pop in the US of A, as we've seen with VINIA, boy, does it pop. Especially when you're going through these delivery systems like coffee. Like I said, 7 out of the 15 top grocery items in Amazon are coffee brands.
Excellent. So a few marketing and go-to-market questions there. The people are asking, coffee's going to be available on vinia.com?
Of course.
Okay. Will the olive products have its own full-on, vertical website, and will it be separate?
Wow, that's a good question. And whoever's asking that question, we should bring them on as a consultant to help us think this through. So you can tell me now, or you can tell me after who asked that question.
That would be Chris.
All right.
There's some other really good ones. I've got a doozy next.
Good question, Chris. So the way we're thinking about it is that, there's a couple of ways you can do it, and we haven't yet landed, but I'll kind of help you understand the two different models. One model basically is you build a version of VINIA.com for olives, right? And they basically, live apart from each other. Another way of doing it is you think about it like you start to bring the mother company into it, like the BioHarvest sciences. We talk about our technology and what we do, almost like a house of BioHarvest sciences. And you go into this room, and it's the red grape cell room. And you go into this room, and or on this floor, it's the red grape cell floor, and you have basically the coffee room, the tea room, the protein bar room, the hydration room, the X room, the Y room that I don't want to talk about right now. And then you have another floor, which is olives, and another floor with all the rooms, and another floor with pomegranates. So, there's two different approaches. And basically now the marketing team are busy now coming back to me with a recommendation of what does each approach look like? And then what are the pros and the cons of each approach? And that's like there's a lot of branding and strategy work that we need to do, because it has important mother brand implications. It has other, product brand implications. It has financial implications based on efficiencies. But I'm sure we'll land in the right place. But that work is being thought
through. Good questions. When you're looking at these different products, do they go through the same regulatory processes as, like, let's say people are asking about, will it be easier to order coffee into Canada, for example?
Wow, that is a really good question.
We can shelve it, but
No. I don't like shelving questions. I don't think we've shelved any question before. I would say to you that I actually think, well, let me first say coffee, and just based on how the FDA thinks about coffee, you'll never see coffee as a dietary supplement. It's always as a food. And as you know, VINIA can play as a food, and it can also play as a dietary supplement, right, from a regulatory perspective. So it's very versatile. As it relates to Canada, I believe it's a food. As a food, the Canadian laws today, as a dietary supplement, you can only ship 90 supplements, 90 capsules at any time into Canada. And as many of you of our Canadian shareholder partners know, it's a pain in the butt, because customs basically pick a number between 1 and 50 on how much they want to charge you on customs duty, as you know as well, Justin. I believe as a food, it's not, there's no duty on it, which will make life easier for us. Okay. So that's actually an interesting question. And we should please follow up with that, Justin, with Michal, our VP of Regulatory Affairs, because what that could mean is it could mean that a much bigger push into Canada as in the context of being a food.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll ask, you brought up regulations and different markets, some questions about cannabis, your comments on how closely you're monitoring discussions about Germany approaching legalization. Last week, the HHS wrote a letter to the DEA, just comments on how closely the executive team's monitoring that. So
obviously, we're closely monitoring everything that's going on from a regulatory perspective. It was somewhat surprising that Health and Human Services had gone that far, but it's encouraging for the industry. And you've seen, some positive responses finally for the industry, some positive responses coming out of that as a result of the Health and Human Services letter to the DEA. We're closely monitoring everything. We are a nimble company. We have a path, basically what we're building right now, as we've shared with you, which is super exciting, super profitable, without cannabis, but at the same time, we're a nimble company and we're watching regulations. We're watching what it means also from a financial perspective, and staying nimble, because that's how we operate.
Thank you. Two marketing strategy questions. One, I love you're gonna like from Matt. Was asking about whether you've got an advertising strategy that will deliver the knockout blow to differentiate when you showed us as being number 15 on Amazon. How many of those 1 through 14 are botanical synthesis, and how many are just ground up junk? But he's asking whether you were thinking about the knockout blow to compare VINIA and the process to the competition.
So a great question. Look, as everybody knows, we're the only company in the world that's able to produce high-seed resveratrol from the red grape at an industrial and commercial scale. And that's because of our platform technology and the fact that we increase the levels at least 100 times versus what's found in the red grape. And as our shareholder owners understand, that basically high-seed resveratrol is really the Rolls Royce of the resveratrol world, because resveratrol is not created, unlike man, resveratrol is not created equal. And with our high-seed resveratrol, it has significant more solubility and bioavailability. So we have how we've got to where we've got to right now is really driven by, if you go into our Amazon sites, we clearly communicate everything. We have our videos. It's very, very clear on delivering those knockout punches on why VINIA, okay? And I think what's happening over time as we creep up the rankings or get closer to 1, we started, 75, we got very quickly to 25. Now we're, oscillating between 10 and 14. It really comes down to eyeballs and spend levels, right? Now, you're going to have also some consumers that ultimately price is king, right? It doesn't matter. Just not going to, they're price sensitive and our product is just, out of their range. And that we're not going to convert everybody. But what we found is that in the last 6 weeks, we've started to surgically target other resveratrol brands. And when we target those resveratrol brands, Amazon allows you to do it very, very effectively. They have a platform to do it. You're targeting them with your point of difference. And we're clearly screaming our point of difference around high-seed resveratrol and our benefits versus trans resveratrol. So, it's a process, but the key thing is I can get there. And again, we've been there. We were at number 3 after Huckabee. We're number 3 after Huckabee. I have the screenshots, okay? It was really related to eyeballs, right? And spend levels. In this case, more eyeballs, right? So I want to be with Amazon and the way the Amazon algorithms work. You have to be very patient, and you have to be it's all about precision and learning and understanding what works and understanding what doesn't work. And then you slowly build your investment levels. And then basically, as you do that, you see improved performance. But what we're finding now is that and people thought I was crazy when we spoke like 2 years ago, and we said, we're going to lead a narrative in the marketplace that educates consumers between the good, the bad, and the ugly in the nutraceutical market. And we're going to lead a narrative which helps people understand that there are 3 questions you have to ask. Is your supplement soluble, i.e., does it get solubilized in your intestinal tract, or are you the product out of your whatever, right? Is it getting out of your body in other ways? And 95% of supplements are just not reaching the right places. So first thing is solubility. Then if it's soluble, how bioavailable is it? Therefore, how long does it take to go through the membrane into your blood plasma? And how does it interact with the cells in your body? VINIA takes 20 minutes. And we have 12 hours sustained release with a peak after 1 hour, peak after 5 hours. That's all being clinically validated. So you should be asking your company, and I say this to all our shareholder partners, if you're taking other supplements, make sure you call up customer service. Excuse me, can you provide me detail about the solubility and bioavailability of this product that I'm taking? All right. And I guarantee you'll never get a response in 99% of the cases. And then ultimately, you've got to ask yourself, where's the efficacy? Where are the clinical trials, right? Show me the clinical trials to support what you're saying. Show me the reviews, and then read the reviews, all right? Because you can read reviews, you know whether somebody's gone and they've kind of, done funny stuff with reviews versus having verified review process. So, we followed a model, Justin. The model's working. And it's not just about marketing punchlines. It's about clearly stating the facts and communicating the point of difference, but being patient, knowing that you have to educate consumers. And the best investment that we ever made was working with David, who's the number one medical animator in the world, that made the 3 videos for us: the science of VINIA, how VINIA works in your body, the solubility advantage and the bioavailability advantage. We've seen hundreds of thousands of views on those videos, and we're educating consumers. And that's great. That's our role. That's a leadership role that we're taking. And that's why we have 93% subscription base. That's why we have 95% of our subscribers are 3 months or more. That's why we have a tap that, we know we can turn on, we can do more and more. And that's why I believe we have one of the lowest churn rates in the industry.
Thank you. I'll ask. Sorry, I've got 31 questions still. I've got you for another 15 minutes.
You got me for as long as you need me. I've got a plane to catch to South Africa in 7 hours, and I don't need to sleep. I just need to pack my suitcase and get in the car with my wife and 3 kids. We have a family celebration.
I want to thank everybody. We will respond to every question. There are some really technical ones about dosage, polyphenolic content of coffee, etc. We'll respond to those directly. Some questions. So a really good comment from somebody anonymous who says that in their mind, it looks like explosive growth is going to be tied to the production scale. And just asking, because there's other questions about how about India, how about China? What levers, can you comment on what levers you can pull on the production scaling specifically?
Yeah, look, I spend a ton of my time dealing with exactly that question and working together with Ilan, our Chief Operations Officer. We're doing everything we can now to maximize the current facility. We're also understanding that we have to be nimble and flexible to be able to look to turn on a new facility very, very quickly. And we're looking at those options. And we're starting now to look for a second facility for the company. Initially here in Israel, and I think long term, we will need to build a massive facility outside of Israel to address the scaling of the business. And that's really being worked on now because that's more the kind of medium-term planning. The near-term planning is really, around, I guess I'll give you the way I'm kind of thinking about this, and it goes back to probably a good analogy is what happened to Tesla and Elon Musk. And basically, there was a time as Tesla was basically bringing their product to market where they had the number of orders versus the cars that they could basically deliver to the market, there was a huge gap. And they knew that if they didn't deliver that, those people had put down deposits and, there's a much kind of different process in the car industry, but it was going to be a massive failure point for the company. And basically, Elon Musk and the management team were very, very nimble, and he pulled them together and he basically said, we're not going to leave this room until we figure out the plan. And the story goes is that basically, Justin, what they realized is that they didn't have enough space in their factory. They couldn't increase the output of cars based on just the sheer space in the factory. So they decided literally to get a huge bubble and to build a factory outside of their factory because there was an open piece of land and to basically replicate everything. But they didn't build bricks and mortar. They built a bubble, right? And they were able to significantly increase production. That's nimble thinking. We have to be nimble, right? If we, I'm saying this because it's humble. I want to be humble. I have a lot of confidence in coffee. I have a lot of confidence in all our products, right? But, you don't want to be overconfident. You have to be humble, or we used to say at Coke, humble confidence, right? But we need to, we've kind of woken up now that okay, we have targets for next year, but if the demand is so much higher, we have to be nimble enough and have a plan B to be able to basically execute a plan like Elon Musk did. Now, I'm not saying we're going to build a bubble outside of our current facility, but there are ways that we can accelerate the capacity that we have in our factory that we want to accelerate. And there are ways that we can do it with actually, right now, if you look at the environment, there are unfortunately a lot of companies that have infrastructure that can be very valuable to us, that allow us to move quickly and increase capacity very, very quickly, utilizing existing infrastructure versus building a plant from scratch.
There was one question whether or not Ilana's hire has made a difference on the operational side yet.
Ilana, she is an amazing, amazing partner, and her value add to the business, like everybody in our leadership team, including Justin, is significant. She is, I like to call her like Margaret Thatcher. She's the Iron Lady. You know, I push like crazy. I'm very tough. I push, push, push. She's calm. She knows what she's doing. She's very precision focused. She's a great planner. And we have definitely the right person. I have the right manufacturing partner who happens to be a PhD biologist, as well as an expert in manufacturing to navigate the challenges of scaling a biological plant. People, I think it's very important. I'm going to take this opportunity, Justin. You and I talk about it sometimes. People think that like it's just press a button and the cells grow. Shareholder partners, we have a biological plant. Right? It's a biological plant. We're doing biology on a massive scale. Right? It's not literally pressing a button and seeing the Coca-Cola run through the Coke line and off you go and you blink and it comes out. It's a biological plant. You have to control everything perfectly. This is not easy, right? That's why we're so good at it. And that's why, you have other tissue culture companies out there that can't get out of a Petri dish. That's why we're manufacturing in massive industrial scale bioreactors, and we're going to make those bioreactors even bigger so we can become even more efficient and we can have more outputs. But it's a biological plant. We have to understand this is not simple. There's huge amount of knowledge, huge amount of know-how. And that's why you've invested in this company, because ultimately it will pop. People will realize that botanical synthesis is the only literally way to address many, many challenges facing the world. And I'll just, maybe it's a good way to kind of start wrapping up. You look at the world today, and this is what keeps me going and driving me, one of the factors. We're living a massive crisis, all of us. You have today in the US, post-COVID crisis. The amount of people suffering from post-COVID is crazy. You have mental health crisis. The amount of drugs that people are taking for mental health, it's not delivering the outcomes. You have a pain management crisis. Think opioids, okay? You have today the CDC in April revised down the life expectancy for an American male and female. Revised down, never before. Can you believe it? In this age of science, they're revising down the average life expectancy. You're in literally a sick care system versus a healthcare system. And that's a massive opportunity for all of us. And an opportunity that botanical synthesis can play a critical role. And today, even pharma companies are realizing that they have to go back to the plants to deal with all these unresolved challenges that exist, these little crises that exist. And at the same time, this summer, we all woke up. Whoever hadn't woken up to the climate crisis, they woke up. They woke up to the climate crisis, right? With record heat, fires, pollution, toxins, you name it. And it's our botanical synthesis technology that is the bridge between the plant and the next generation of therapeutic solutions, from pharmaceuticals to cosmeceuticals to nutraceuticals to nutrition. And we're the company that's leading this charge in botanical synthesis, that's leading the movement of change. And you all are our partners in driving this movement of change that the world needs. And that's why, Justin, what we're doing now to scale this business, everything that we're doing every day, we're breaking our teeth and learning and conquering. It's just building capabilities for what we need in the future, and ultimately what the world is going to need, because the world is going to have to start to understand very quickly the power of botanical synthesis, and that botanical synthesis is the way forward in so many different areas. So we'll start to talk more about this. We just lost Justin. I don't know what happened. We'll start to talk more about this and in the next few months. But I'm looking forward to having those discussions. Just, it's very, very invigorating when you see the technology that we have and the ability for this technology really to pave the way for the future in so many different areas. So there's a question here which talks about, I think, Ilan, nice to hear from you. Thank you for watching. He's just talking about diversifying our focus and not just being on Fox, and not just being on TBN. So I want to just let you all know that TBN is a very, very important part of our strategy. We are also basically covered on other channels, and we're obviously doing this to optimize our efficiency levels. Welcome back, Justin. And we're actually about to start in the next few weeks a great marketing radio partnership, which you're going to start to hear. We got some great work that we're doing with a key partner in radio. I'll talk more about it on the next update. So complementing what we're doing on the TV side, we're also going to go with basically a radio strategy to complement that with a key partner, which we're looking forward to driving, that extra, unleash that extra demand on the demand tab. I was just covering some of the questions because you decided to take a toilet break, Justin.
No, that was the internet let us down. Was the question about other marketing opportunities? Because I was going to ask you to finish up. So we had some comments where people want to hear more about different cell banks. VINIA obviously drives 100% of the revenue right now. Perhaps you just comment on, like, people are commenting on, you mentioned faith-based programming. How about our athlete? Sponsored athletes and athlete spokespeople and the Olympics. How about other markets? How about even media that targets different than Fox?
I covered this question from Ilan. I talked about the radio program that's going to go across all networks. I talked also about us being quite surgical in our approach of going across basically other networks, which are attracting people that we see as being our consumers, but are not necessarily faith-based. As it relates to VINIA Pro, we are seeding our products now with multiple athletes. We have, again, more than 200 athletes in the NFL that are utilizing VINIA right now. VINIA Pro is going to be a major push, where it's a big play for us as we look to basically bring the brand to a much younger demographic. So ultimately, as it relates to consumer life cycle, we're doing all the right things. As it relates also to geographies, I will share with everybody that we're making great progress on Canada, and we've had a process of interacting with Health Canada through our legal partners in the last few weeks, which has been very positive as it relates to basically them understanding our science and what we are allowed to communicate to consumers, and we've had some very, very positive outcomes. So I'm very happy with that process, and looking forward to having VINIA in Canada for our Canadian consumers to be able to buy it online, without any issues, early in the first quarter.
Yeah, and I think the question I'd ask, thank you, is people. What is if you're looking forward in a year from now, there are all of these initiatives that we're actually doing. And then there is the entire universe of the opportunity, the ideas, what's in a holding pattern, and even more with the platform itself. Maybe just give a sense of just so people that understand that, you're the company's, it's not just VINIA. It's looking at the other opportunities, the other options in the future.
I
be careful with the forward looking statements. But
yeah, I know you'll stop me for sure on any forward-looking statements. I know that you'll put your body on the line. I understand that. Look, I talked before about the power of botanical synthesis. We are leading a movement of change in the world. We are seen in the industry as being the leaders, as having the greatest ability to unlock the secrets of cellular plant biology, like no other company, as it relates to the work that we do in tissue culture, when we start at the plant, all the way through to producing a massive industrial scale bioreactors. The world is going in this direction. And what our shareholder partners are seeing, all I will say, Justin, and if I cross the line, move me back over the line, all I was saying is our shareholder partners are seeing literally a microcosm of the opportunity of this company. Because all we're doing with VINIA is we're validating the power of our technology. Okay? And you need to understand that, look at what we collectively, because all of you are partners in this business. Look what we've done in this short period of time. When you look at the scaling of the business, the metrics that the business has, as I took you through earlier, the metrics, not just around the revenue numbers, but around the quality of the growth. It's very, very important, the quality of the growth. And if you think about it, if I have the capabilities to do this on one, let's call it one plant, and I also have the capabilities to be much more efficient in how I move plants through my system, imagine what we can build this company. Imagine how big we can build this company. Imagine the magnitude of change we can have on millions, tens of millions of people with our technology. Right? Companies like Tesla were here 12 years ago. Look at where they are now. Look what they've done for the industry. Right? Imagine what we can do. We have something, a technology, an ability to literally go from plant to product in a way which doesn't just mirror all the phytomedicinal compounds in the plant, but it also increases the critical phytomedicinal compounds that the human body needs. And we know how to bring it to consumers. We know how to manufacture it. We know how to bring it to consumers. And we're getting smarter and smarter every single day in the manufacturing. Because it's biological manufacturing. It's data. It's experience. It's technology. Right? And this is what Ilana is driving, the agenda that she's driving with me, to be the best in class, not just best in class R&D, but best in class manufacturing organization. So we can lead the world in this area and bring the world with us. So that's really, for me, it's a massive responsibility with what we have in our hands. Massive responsibility. Shame on us if we don't maximize this responsibility to help change the lives of millions of people and generations to come. Because the likes, nutrition, if you look today at a loaf of bread and the nutrition in a loaf of bread today versus 20 years ago, it's drastically different. The nutritional world has been turned upside down. Chemical synthesis can only go so far. Amazing developments in the last 20 years, 30 years. But chemical synthesis has hit the wall in a number of different areas. And that's why botanical synthesis, going back to the plant, you need to go back to the past to go back to the future in a way. That's really what gets us excited. And we'll just keep on doing what we're doing on our current pathway with our red grape cells, olive cells, but there is a lot more coming from this company as we get smarter and smarter and better at what we're doing. So a lot to look forward to. It's not easy. It's a grind. Anything is a grind. Literally I always say, I say to everybody in my team, I'll say it to my kids, I'll say it to my wife when she wants to listen to me. It's a grind. Nothing is easy. But you look at people that have built massive companies that have changed the world. It's never easy, right? So, we're just lucky that we have this amazing technology that just makes a massive difference to people's lives. And that gives you the strength to keep on doing what you're doing. Justin.
Yeah, thank you for such a detailed answer. We still have 34 questions. I think people are joining So Justin at bioharvest.com, we will respond to every question. If I will have this recording rendered hopefully by this evening, and it will be shared. But by all means, please reach out to us because Ilan is very absolutely 100% approachable on any question. Thank you so much for everybody who stayed with us. That's our full 90 minutes. Thank you, Ilan.
Thanks, Justin. I've really enjoyed tonight, and I'm so blown away by the quality of questions that we get, and the questions also keep us on our toes. Often they expose some blind spots. We can't be everywhere, and I just want to encourage all our shareholder partners. Dr. Jones, all of you, you're sending me the team from Germany, Clint, you guys, who are always looking for, basically out there for us, looking for opportunities, being provocative. We enjoy it. We embrace it. Like I always say, we're building this company together. You are our shareholder partners. We're on this amazing journey, to build a movement of change, being this botanical synthesis movement that we're building. And we can't do it alone. And it's amazing to see the support that we have from our shareholder partners. And I thank you deeply. And also I thank you for your patience, and I'll say this very transparently, where we are as a company from a capability perspective and an opportunity perspective, near term is not reflected in the value of the company. It's just not reflected, right? And it pisses me off to some extent, but in other extents, right, it just keep our head down, because I know at some stage it's gonna pop. It's gonna pop because it has to. And we really appreciate the patience and the partnership from many of you, many of our Israeli shareholder partners that are obviously been with us for a long time, and all of you know who you are. Many of them have good personal relationships, as well as all our partners in Europe and the US and Canada. Thank you for all your partnership. It's going to be another good quarter that we're going to have in Q3, and we're continuing to build the capability and to build the bridge to the dream. And the dream is reachable. Build a great company that's going to change the world.